Ms.Alexzander. I'm back. I know it's been a minute, but I keep seeing all these loose ends bags and I think they're kind of cute, but for me personally, I think they're a little bit chonky. So also sorry about the glare. I'm using my computer. I made like this swatch for a different project because this is the yarn I'm going to be using. Karen Sprinkle Cakes, because I have a couple of these and I have no idea what I'm going to do with them. But it reminds me, like, the loose ends bags reminds me of like this one top I made that's made out of like, I think it's half double crochet and single crochet ribbing like mixed together to cinch it at the bottom. So like using this swatch, I think this would be enough, which is like 50 stitches for me. This is a big enough bag, but I think I'm gonna do like 8 on each side of single crochet. Then I think it is 34 half double crochets. Let me make sure. Yeah, 34 half double crochets. So I'm gonna chain 50, then do 8 single crochets, 34 half double crochets, and then another 8, because I'm pretty sure it's all gonna be worked in one piece. So I will be back once I've done that. Okay, progress check. I think I've done 4 rows so far, and I think that it's gonna be a cute size. You can see the little bit of the ribbing in the body, which for me, this is a perfectly sized tote bag. I don't like them too big, so I'm just gonna keep working along. So I did I chained 51, then I did 8 single crochets, 34 half double crochets, 8 more single crochets, and I'm chaining at the start of every row. So you can't really see the stitch markers, but I've got 1 stitch marker at the start of each single crochet, and you can kind of start to see the lines popping out from the ribbing. For the ribbing, I'm doing obviously the single crochet and half double crochet just into the back loop. Whatever side you're working on, just do it into the back loop, and that's how I'm doing it. So I'm just gonna work along here until I get a little bit more progress. So this is row 4, I believe, which is very, 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 very short. I'm thinking this is going to be like maybe 40 rows. I'm not really sure. If this is 4, we'll check back in at 10 and then see where I'm going to go from there. But this is what I've got so far. Okay, so I finally reached row 10. This is what we're looking like. And I think, personally, I think 20 rows would probably be good, but I think I'm going to do 30 to make it into like a large tote bag probably. I think that would be like really, really chunky and a good size. I'm about maybe halfway through, I think, one of the balls. I think that's about halfway through one of these. So almost halfway. So I'm thinking I might only need 2 of these. So we'll see. Because I'm thinking I might use like the pink color for the strap because it all kind of blends together. But we'll see how that goes and how it works out. But because I think this is, and it also like is stretchy, so I'm not really too worried about the size. I think it's coming out like, because as a shoulder bag, because I think I'm going to make mine as like a shoulder bag or maybe a crossbody. I'm not sure yet, but it's coming along nicely. I'm just yapping, sorry, but this is what I got with 10 rows. So I'm going to keep going, probably do another 10, and then, or somewhere in between there, and check back in with you guys then. Okay, so I'm way past row 10 now. I am on row, 25, and we are looking very cute. You can start to see, oh, you can't really see it that close because my computer changes in the color. I'm thinking I'm going to go to row 30 or finish this ball of yarn and see how much I have left and see what it looks like. because I'm thinking 30 should be enough. This is 25, so 40 seems to be a lot. Quite large. So if I finish this off, that means for the body, I will have only used one of these, which is not that bad, in my opinion, because this is 193 yards, so almost 200 yards for the body of the bag. So we'll see how it goes. I will probably get to row 30 and then see where I'm at then. Okay, so I reached row 30. This is what we're looking like. This is the wrong side. This is the right side. I removed my my normal stitch markers that I had, you know, separating the 8 stitches from the 34 stitches on each end. And I put 2 stitch markers because I counted 25, because that's half of 50. And so for each side, because this is the size I'm going with. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to fold, you know, the ends together, and I'm just going to do a single crochet to close it together with both sides connected. That is my plan. I guess I could double it up, but for me personally, I think that this will be just fine. And I'm pretty sure that this is going to give the desired look that I'm trying to achieve. Let me do a couple stitches here. I could double the yarn up and use a way larger hook, but I'm being kind of lazy, and I feel like this will work perfectly fine at seaming it together. I'm going to do the exact same thing also to the other side. So there. This is what it's going to look like. It's just going to be closed on the end. So I'll be back once I do that. So I just finished seaming both the sides from the same side. For one side I started, on this side I started at the top and went down, and from this side I started at the bottom going up so that they'd be facing the same way. It's the front. This is the back, or whichever way you want to do it. At this point, for me personally, I am going to I'm going to tie all these ends in and then cut the rest, because I've got, I think, 3 or 4 on the outside and a couple more on the inside. So I guess it's cute either way, you know, right side or the outside, whichever way you want to do it. But I'm going to seam my ends in really quick. Okay, so I started working on the strap. I did 60 single crochets with 1 chain at the start of each row, and I'm doing 4 rows aside from the chain row, and then I believe that I'm going to fold it in half, sew it together, and then crochet around it. That is my plan. Do I know if it is going to work yet? No, not really. But I guess when I get there, we'll get there. Because I'm thinking that if I fold it like this and then sew it together, it'll make a nice little cute tube. And then I'm gonna like do a big loop and crochet around it. So I guess we'll see how that turns out. So I finished with the strap. I ended up doing 60 single crochets, and I ended up doing 5 rows, not including the chain row, and then I single crocheted 5 on each end, and then I wrapped it all the way around to the other side, and then I tied it off, because I want the 5 single crochets to where I'm going to connect the strap to the bag. For me personally, I'm going to go 3 single crochets from each end of the other of the 5. Basically from the 5 I'm going to go 3, and I'm going to mark that on each side so that I know where to start. So that would be putting it into the fourth stitch, because I'm skipping 3 stitches. I believe that makes sense. Yes, I'm putting into the 4th stitch, so 3 stitches free. And I'm doing this because when I start single crocheting it together, and then when I single crochet around it, I want to leave enough space so that when I want to attach it to the bag, it'll be flat. Because if I like pinch this together, I can still like flatten this out so I can sew it onto the bag. So next what I'm going to do is I'm going to fold this together essentially like this, and then I am going to single crochet all the way around, basically like all the way down with it folded together. So I finally reached the end. It doesn't look like much, but when you flatten it, it's going to look more like a tube. So I crocheted the ends together. I've got one last stitch that I'm going to tie off. And now, after this, I would recommend leaving a super long tail so that you can eventually sew it in if you choose to sew it in. I'm going to begin with crocheting around. I mean, if you want to leave it like this, I'm sure it's fine. But I just think that would be cuter, personally. So I'm going to start basically around the first end. And I'm just going to go underneath and pull my yarn up to the top to make a loop, yarn over, and then pull through. And then I'm just basically gonna do that all the way down. Okay, so I know I keep talking about how I was gonna like crochet around the tube, but I actually think I like it like this. So I'm gonna leave mine like this, and I'm going to sew these ends in to prepare for stitching it onto the bag. So, and then after that, all we'll have to do, attach to the bag, and then we'll be done. So, I sewed in the ends on my strap. Now I've got the body of the bag, and I'm gonna go from each end, and you can see that this is the middle. So I'm gonna go 2 or 3 on each side, and then I'm gonna crochet 5 across, making sure that I put 2 stitches in here for the middle. So it'll be 2 from each side and then 2 in the center thick part. So for 5. And I'm going to do that on each side. This is where I'm going to sew the bag on. I just realized everything I just said was wrong. But no, this is the middle part. So I'm going to go 1 stitch on each side, like whichever side you want to start on. So I'm gonna do 2 on one side, 2 in the center middle, and then 1 on the other side for 5. it'll be a little lopsided, but one stitch, in my opinion, isn't going to make that much of a difference. Not me recording it twice and still being wrong. So, to attach the straps, I'm going for the center here, which is the edge, and I'm doing 2 on each side, 1 in the center, and then 2 on each side to equal 5 to attach the strap onto. Well, that's how I'm doing it. And I'm doing it in the same color as the strap, so you won't be able to tell the difference. So for me to attach the strap, I've got the 5 stitches here, and then the 5 stitches I just placed on the bag, and I'm just going to line up the 5 and 5 stitches, and I'm just going to stitch together. You can stitch together in whatever way you want, to be honest. So I finished attaching the strap, and this is what we're looking like. It just wants to buckle, but I think it's perfectly fine. This is what the strap looks like. I just finished attaching the strap, so this is what the bag looks like, and this is what the strap looks like with it finished. If I try the bag on, I think it is perfect. It is nice and chunky. Very, very, very large. Very cute. I love it. This is just my take on a loose ends bag. It's not like, I haven't bought his pattern. I'm not trying to like copy exactly what he is doing, but this is my take on it. I think it turned out phenomenal, and I love it. So, bye. I mean, thanks for coming and chilling with me and watching me make this very chunky bag.